Imagine losing a war, even though you have more soldiers, more money, and more power. Sounds impossible, right? But here's the thing, throughout history, massive empires kept losing to small tribes that, on paper, had absolutely no chance. And it didn't happen once, it happened again and again and again. So the real question is, how do small, weak groups keep defeating the most powerful empires in history?
Look, imagine this for a second. You're in a group project. There's like 10 of you. You've got more resources, more time, more people. And somehow you still lose to that one small, focused group that just moves faster, thinks better, and gets things done. And you sit there thinking, how did we lose? We had everything. Here's the thing. That exact scenario has been playing out for thousands of years, just on a much bigger scale. Massive empires with millions of people, huge armies, insane wealth, losing to small tribes that on paper had absolutely no chance. And it doesn't make sense, at least not at first, because everything we're taught tells us that bigger equals stronger. More soldiers, more money, more land, that should guarantee victory, right? But history says the opposite. Again and again, small, underdeveloped groups have defeated some of the most powerful empires ever created, and not just once. This pattern repeats over and over. So the real question is, what are we missing? Because clearly, power isn't what we think it is. Let me show you. Take the Roman Empire. At its peak, it controlled around 60 million people. It had one of the most advanced military systems in the world, professional legions, infrastructure, logistics, everything. And yet, over time, smaller groups like Germanic tribes kept pushing into Roman territory, not because they were stronger, but because they fought differently. They didn't rely on rigid formations. They didn't follow predictable strategies. They adapted quickly. They hit where Rome was weak. And more importantly, they didn't have a massive system slowing them down. Here's the problem with big empires. They're powerful, but they're slow. Think of an empire like a giant machine. At the beginning, it's small, efficient, easy to control. But as it grows, it becomes more complex, more moving parts, more coordination, more systems that need to work perfectly. And the bigger it gets, the harder it becomes to change anything. Now compare that to a small tribe. They don't have bureaucracy. They don't have layers of command. Decisions happen instantly. Strategies change in real time. They're flexible. It's like comparing a speedboat to a massive cargo ship. Yeah, the cargo ship is bigger, it's stronger, it can carry more. But try turning it quickly, it just doesn't happen. And that's exactly why smaller groups can win. Let's talk about the Mongols before they became an empire. Before Genghis Khan united them, they were just scattered tribes, no massive cities, no advanced infrastructure, no giant economy, but they had something incredibly powerful, mobility and adaptability. Their armies could move faster than almost any other force at the time. Some estimates suggest Mongol cavalry could travel over 100 kilometers in a single day. They used psychological warfare, fake retreats, surprise attacks. They didn't fight the way traditional armies expected, and that's the key. They weren't playing the same game. Now here's where it gets interesting. Most large empires don't lose because they're weak. They lose because they become predictable. When you're big, you rely on systems, standard procedures, established strategies. That's what made you successful in the first place. But over time, those same systems turn into limitations, because when something unexpected happens, you can't adapt fast enough. There's actually a concept in strategy called asymmetric warfare. It basically means one side avoids fighting on the terms of the stronger opponent. Instead, They find weaknesses and exploit them. And small tribes, they've been doing this forever. Instead of facing large armies head-on, they use terrain, speed, surprise. They attack supply lines. They disappear before a response can even happen. It's like trying to punch someone who keeps moving. You waste energy, you get frustrated, and eventually you make mistakes. Now let's bring this back to something you'll understand instantly. Think about big companies. When they're small, they move fast. They innovate, they take risks, but as they grow, they build systems, departments, rules, and suddenly making one decision takes weeks. Meanwhile, a small startup can pivot in a day. That's why smaller players often disrupt massive industries. Same pattern, different context. And history is full of these examples. The Spanish Empire, despite its wealth from the Americas, struggled against smaller, more flexible enemies in different regions. The British Empire, at its peak, controlling about a quarter of the world, faced constant resistance from smaller groups using unconventional tactics. Even in modern times, we've seen large, powerful forces struggle against smaller, more adaptive opponents. So what's the real lesson here? It's not that small always beats big. It's that flexibility beats rigidity, speed beats size, adaptation beats tradition. And this is where most people get it wrong. They think success comes from becoming bigger, stronger, more powerful. But they don't realize that every step in that direction also makes them slower, more complex, and harder to change. And that's dangerous, because the moment you stop adapting, you start falling behind. So if you take one thing from this, let it be this: whether it's empires, companies, or even your own life, don't aim to just become bigger. Aim to stay adaptable, stay flexible, stay fast. Because in a world that's constantly changing, the people who win aren't the ones with the most resources. They're the ones who can adjust the fastest. And that's the part history keeps trying to teach us, but most people never notice. And once you see it, you can't unsee it. And that's why small tribes were able to defeat massive empires. It was never about size, it was about adaptability. So the next time you think that being bigger means being stronger, remember this: history proves the opposite. If you enjoyed this video, make sure to like and subscribe. It really helps the channel grow. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you in the next one.